All right, so we're now behind the wheel of the 2010 Ford Mustang GT. And as you saw in our last video, there's been significant revisions on the exterior and interior of this car over the last generation. On the outside, the car is a lot sleeker. Ford designers spent a lot of time cleaning up the air on this car, and the overall look is a lot more aggressive. On the inside, they spent a lot of time upping the refinement. The car has a lot more softer touch materials and generally better controls for a much higher end sophisticated feel. There are some carryover features, however, mostly dealing with the powertrain. This car still has the same 4.6 liter V8 engine and 5-speed manual and 5-speed automatic carried over from the last generation. Although this car is based on the Bullet version, which means it has 315 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque. There are some new features though, including an induction pipe that runs from the airbox into the cabin, piping in a lot of the sound that was lost due to the heavily revised sound deadening. What Ford engineers did is made this car a lot more quiet. They've reduced a lot of the vibration and harshness, and as a result, they thought that they lost some of the character. So what they did is they hooked up a pipe that brings engine noise and a little bit of vibration back into the cabin. At wide open throttle, it really does sound great. As far as driving is concerned, this car is head and shoulders above the previous generation Ford Mustang. That's mainly to do with the suspension upgrades. The car is a lot tighter, it corners a lot sharper, because the spring rates are increased, as is the dampening. What this means is that the car now corners very flat, and under braking, it doesn't dive quite as much. Even on hard launches, you don't rock back as much as you used to in the previous generation Mustang GT. It's a really nice ride. So we know it feels fast, but we wanted to find out exactly how fast. So we took our Mustang GT to an abandoned stretch of highway and let her rip. The results? 5.2 seconds to 60, and a quarter-mile time of 13.7 seconds at 103.7 miles per hour. Pretty impressive. So overall, the 2010 Ford Mustang GT represents an enormous improvement over the previous generation car. Again, it's sleeker on the outside, it looks much more aggressive and tighter, yet still retaining that retro cool. On the inside, it's far more sophisticated, far more refined, it feels great. And the drive is also very surprising. It's very tight, very well balanced, and really has that muscle car feel. But is it enough to take on the Dodge Challenger and Chevrolet Camaro? We'll just have to see when we get all three together for a muscle car shootout.